People of the internet, I'm Jack, and I'm back again. Sorry it's been so long. Life has been kind of crazy, but I got a new camera, a new microphone, and I hope to be bringing you guys more videos in the near future. The content of this video is going to be kind of expanding on a couple of my previous videos where I talked about my struggles with coming off of medication, opiates, benzos, and how the ketogenic diet really helped me really turn the corner on starting to heal from the damage that those medications did and the very difficult withdrawal I was going through. And I've got some questions from you guys, some requests about how to do the ketogenic diet successfully. And so I'm going to be giving you guys some tips and kind of give you the most foolproof way to do the ketogenic diet that I know how. And if you follow the steps that I give you guys, you're guaranteed to be in ketosis and to be successful. So if you're not familiar with my channel, my name is Jack, and I started this channel to give people hope that are going through the struggles of coming off of medications, specifically opiates and benzos, but I believe the keto diet can help with other types of drug withdrawal, psychiatric drugs, and other street drugs. So that's how this channel started, and I've got a couple of videos that have been the aim of which is to expose corruption, and specifically within the pharmaceutical field. And so this channel exists as a way to help those people that are going through what I went through, and to try to be a light that exposes the darkness in various areas of pharmaceuticals, and try to give some people hope so that they can get through what I had gone through. So before I get into that, I wanted to give a little update on my situation, where I'm at. I apologize for not doing a video in so long, but life has been kind of hectic. I got back to work, been working full time, and in my free time I started a business, and that has occupied a lot of my time, basically all my free time. So that's why I haven't posted a video in a while. And I've worked on a few things here and there video wise, but I didn't really feel like I had the I want to put out quality content for you guys, and I didn't feel like I had enough of that quality content to put out a good video. So I apologize about that. But the really cool thing about this business I'm starting is I think it's really going to be able to help people that have been in our situation. I believe it's going to help people that have gone through something like we're going through, and so yeah, I'm going to be actually doing a giveaway on my next video. It has to do with my business, and I don't want to say too much about it, but I am going to make a new video that's probably going to come out within the next couple months that's going to kind of give an update on where I've been. It's almost a year since I put out my first video, which is by far the most popular, which documents me coming off of the medication, what it was like, and trying to just document that. So I'm going to give an update video. I believe I put that out last January, so I'm hoping within a month I'll have that 1 year update for you guys, and I'll talk about how my recovery's been since that video came out, and really watch out for that video, because I'm going to be giving away something, and I think you're going to like it. So I'm not going to say anything else about it. Watch for that video to come out. I also want to say thank you to everybody who commented on that video and the other videos I put out. People that shared your stories, shared some of the stuff that you've gone through, and the really nice comments you guys have had for me, the support. I'm really humbled, and I feel blessed to have you guys as an audience. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you for all the kind words, and for sharing your stories. It's hard. Sometimes it's hard to share the stuff that we go through, and a lot of times we don't have people in our lives that we can talk to about this stuff. So even if we're connecting with random people on the internet and sharing with them, I think that's good, and I think that's cathartic, and I think it's helpful and healthy. And so just thank you guys so much. So yeah, with all that out of the way, let's get into the content of the video. So in a previous video, I documented the science behind the ketogenic diet and how it helps people that are going through withdrawal symptoms, specifically with benzo withdrawal. If you guys haven't seen that video, I'll put a banner up here somewhere, and click on that, check it out. But I'll just give a little, I'll put it in the description too down below, but I'll just give a little rundown of what we learned in that video. The main ways a ketogenic diet can help people with benzo withdrawal is that it naturally raises GABA, which is the same neurotransmitter that we're lacking in benzo withdrawal, and that's due to the downregulation of the GABA A receptor. And at the same time, it decreases the amount of glutamate and aspartate, which are kind of the opposite of GABA. They're the excitatory neurotransmitters. So you're raising the GABA, which is the calming neurotransmitter, and you're decreasing the excitatory neurotransmitters. In addition, there is a ketone called BHB that is a natural anti-inflammatory agent, and I believe a lot of the symptoms that we have in benzo withdrawal are a result of inflammation. So just having that ketone present in your body naturally decreases that inflammation. So that's another way that it helps. And additionally, in the ketogenic diet, you have a low intake of carbohydrates and sugar, and these are actually inflammatory inherently. So glucose is an inflammatory chemical, so reducing the amount of carbohydrates also has an anti-inflammatory effect. In that same video, I talked about using intermittent fasting along with the ketogenic diet, and intermittent fasting also has an anti-inflammatory effect, and it activates a process called autophagy, which can help detox and cleanse out the body. So that's another way that it helps. And when you're on the ketogenic diet, you have a lot of fat that you're consuming, and these good fats have been shown to help the brain recover from brain damage and traumatic injuries. So that's another way it can help. And lastly, the ketogenic diet helps mitochondria to function more effectively, and those are the powerhouse of the cell, so that will help you get more energy, which a lot of us have problems with fatigue. If you have your mitochondria running more efficiently, it can help your brain fight off stressors, so it will fight neurodegeneration, which will help with brain fog, which a lot of us have. It will help us improve our memory, and the one that was just key for me is it will help you sleep, and sleep is regenerative, and just if you don't have sleep, you're in trouble. So it'll help with all that stuff. And again, if you want to look at the details of the science of how that works, check out that other video. But in lieu of that, let's go ahead and explain what the ketogenic diet is. The keto diet is a high-fat, low-carb, and moderate protein diet. And basically how it works is if you limit the amount of carbohydrates you consume and you provide your body with enough fat, it will stop relying on the carbohydrates for energy, and it will start burning fat for energy. You also have to limit the amount of protein that you consume, because protein can be converted into glucose within the body if you consume too much of it. So it's a high fat, moderate protein, low carbohydrate diet. And the goal of the diet is to put your body into a state of ketosis. Now, ketosis is when your body is producing ketones from the fats we are consuming. And these ketones are the new energy source instead of carbohydrates. There's some evidence that shows that the brain prefers using ketones instead of carbs, which may result in the cognitive benefits of the ketogenic diet. In fact, in Silicon Valley, there's a lot of people, it's almost a fad there, to do the ketogenic diet, because it's very competitive there, and it can give one employee the advantage over another one because of that, faster mental processing. And so it's very popular in those industries where every little bit of mental focus and cognitive ability is really key. It's also popular with extreme athletes like UFC fighters and long-distance marathon and triathlon participants, because of the gains in stamina and the increases in energy that people in those fields obviously need. So the goal is getting into and staying in ketosis, and the way it's pretty simple. The way you do that is you moderate how much of the macros you consume, and macros are the main nutrients that your body uses, which are fat, protein, and carbohydrates. Okay, so what we're shooting for is a diet that consists of 70 to 80% fat, 20 to 25% protein, and 5 to 10% carbohydrates. Now, one important point to make here is that these are measurements of calories and not the weight of the food. So when you look at the nutritional value, that's going to be listed in grams and not in calories. And like I said before, at least I think I said it before, but if I didn't, I'll say it now. Fat has more energy per unit than protein or carbohydrates. It's over 2 times as energy dense. So when you're calculating those percentages of macros that you want to try to hit, you have to use the calories instead of using the weights. So 1 gram of fat is 9 calories, and it's only 4 for protein and carbohydrates. So just one thing you have to be aware of when you're calculating your macros. And then everybody's different. So some people are going to be able to consume more carbs and stay in ketosis, or consume less fat and stay in ketosis. So that's why there's a range between in the fat content between 70 to 80%. Some people can get away and stay in ketosis at 70. Some need to bump it up to 80. And so that's the first thing you kind of have to figure out is how is your body going to process this stuff? How many carbs can you consume? What percentages of your macros do you need to consume? So the best way that I have found to do this tracking that's easy is to download an app The one I use is called MyFitnessPal. It's free. Download the app, and basically what you're going to do is anything you want to consume, or if you want to plan out a meal, you can pick the food. Excuse me. You can pick the food within the app and add it, and it will automatically calculate your macros for you. So when you're first starting out, I would highly recommend using MyFitnessPal, or there's other macro trackers. You can search and find one you like, but MyFitnessPal is free, and they've got a big list of foods in there. Almost everything that I've tried to find has been in there, and so that's an easy way for you to track your macros. So so I would look up some keto meals. There's a ton of recipes online. Find some stuff that looks good to you, and play with your macros. Put in the ingredients that are going to be used in that dish or whatever you consume throughout the day, and track your macros with that free app, MyFitnessPal. Pretty simple to do. So the next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to test to see if your body is producing ketones. And I would recommend at first, when you're just starting out, to use urine test strips. You can buy them at local stores. They're going to be with the insulin products, because people that are diabetic, they have to check their ketone levels as well. So it's going to be a low-cost way to actually check your ketones, and it's going to take anywhere from 12 hours, 24 hours minimum, to a couple of days for your body to exhaust the carbohydrate reserves that it has and to switch over to that fat burning mode. And honestly, this is going to be the toughest time for you, most likely. You're going to have a lot of carb cravings. You're going to want to eat some bread or some pasta or a candy bar. But just stick with it. Get through the carb cravings. They last, for me and people that I know have done it, they last a couple days, and it's going to be rough during that time. But just really hold on, because it's really worth it once you get past that. The other thing that you have to, it's difficult as well, is as your body is exhausting your carbohydrate reserves, it's going to be going back and forth between burning carbohydrates and burning fat. And in this state, your body is not sure which one it's going to go to, and it might be going back and forth. And a lot of people can get headaches and just maybe not have as much energy, and just combine that with the carb cravings. It can be a little bit difficult for some people, and I think this is where most people wash out and they don't continue past this. But if you're like me, especially if you've been dealing with the benzo withdrawal and stuff, you're desperate. Let's just face it. You're desperate to find relief, and you're willing to try anything. So carb cravings are nothing compared to what you've been going through. The only thing that is going to be more difficult is you're going to have your symptoms of withdrawal, plus this couple day period of, it's probably going to ramp up your symptoms, and you're probably going to feel a little bit worse than you did beforehand, as your body is transitioning. Do I burn carbs or do I burn fat? And so this is going to be something you have to get through. But once you get through this, you're going to, if you're like me and other people that I know, you're going to start getting symptom relief afterwards. So it's a couple days, maybe even a half a day. It just depends, of feeling like crap, but the payoff is worth it if you can get through it. So a couple tips to help your body make that switch. One would be to implement intermittent fasting, because fasting itself will kind of force the body to make that switch naturally and start producing ketones faster. If you're able to, working out can also exhaust those carbohydrate reserves faster. And then you can help your body by consuming something called MCT oil. This MCT oil is converted more directly than almost everything I know into ketones. So I would definitely fast, skip breakfast, go push lunch as far as you can. Don't do it all in one day, but maybe over a couple days, and if you can, get a little workout in, and then consume some MCT oil, and that will probably make you switch into switching over into ketosis faster. So once you've done this fasting and you've adjusted your macros with the app, you're going to want to start testing your urine to see if you're in ketosis, and it's pretty easy to do. You just you buy the test strips. You can buy them online too. I buy mine at Walgreens, but whatever local pharmacy you use, they should have ketone stuff. So you're gonna want to start testing, and as soon as that test strip starts turning colors, you'll know that your body is starting to go into ketosis. Once you figure out whether you want to continue with the diet or not, I would suggest buying a breath meter. This is my preferred way of testing my ketones. Ketones are going to be present in your breath, in your blood, and in your urine. The keto test strips are the cheapest, I would say. They're pretty cheap, but you'd have to keep buying them. With this, it's a little bit higher upfront cost, but then you don't have to pay again. So I would say if you decide the ketogenic diet is right for you, that you purchase one of these. Like I said, the other method is with a blood tester. I got one of those too. This is the most expensive, but it's also the most accurate. So it's as much as $1 per test. So I wouldn't really recommend that unless you are on it long term and you see a benefit of wanting to spend that much money to get an accurate reading. But for the most part, urine test strips and the breath meter are going to be sufficient for most uses in the keto world. So now you should be you should have a pretty good idea of what macros you're consuming, tracking it with the app, and then looking with the whatever testing method you use to see how much of a ketosis state you're in. And like I said before, everybody's different, so this is where you want to try to dial in your macros to see, do I need 70% fat, or do I need to go up to 80% fat? Am I one of the lucky people that can consume 50 or 100 grams of carbs, or am I one of the people that has to really restrict the carbs down to 20 grams or below? So this is where you're going to be dialing in your macros, and you may not have to do too much of this if you're consistently testing good with your ketone testing. But if you're still having trouble getting into ketosis, then you're going to want to adjust. I would, if it was me, I would start increasing my fat content and getting towards the top of that 80% range if you're having trouble staying in ketosis at this point. If you're doing well at that 80, if you're close to 80% and you're still not in ketosis, then I would recommend adjusting your carbohydrate intake and really decreasing the amount of carbs. And then, keep testing. Test a couple times a day. You can test before you eat, after you eat, and you should be able to dial in and get an idea of the macros that you need to stay in ketosis. If you've decreased your carbs down to 20 grams or less, or 5% of your total calories, and you're still having trouble, I would recommend looking for hidden carbs, because not every carbohydrate is going to be listed on the nutritional facts. Things like maltodextrin and dextrose do not have to be counted under the carbs, but they'll be listed in the ingredients. So sometimes you'll be consuming things and it says the carbs are good on the nutritional facts, but then you look down in the ingredients and there's hidden carbs. Another ones to look out for is xylitol and erythritol. These are what's called sugar alcohols, and these can also knock you out of ketosis. More of these hidden carbs. But once you figure out all your hidden carbs and you eliminate those from your diet, then you should be dialed in at this point. You should be testing consistently in ketosis, and you should be good. And one more note about carbohydrates. The carbohydrates that are counted is what's called net carbs, which is the total carbohydrates minus the fiber. So I don't think MyFitnessPal tracks the fiber, so that's something you're going to have to adjust on your own if you are having trouble. But it's helpful for us because we can actually consume more carbs. We don't have to count the fiber carbs because your body doesn't digest them; they go right through. So you don't have to count those. And this is good because it allows us to eat some fruits. Fruits have some of the lowest glycemic index of all the fruits, and they have a high fiber content. So I consume a lot of strawberries, raspberries, blackberries, and especially blueberries because they have those antioxidants that we need. So okay, so you've been using the macro tracking app and you're doing ketone testing, and you should get an idea of your macros that work specifically for you. And by this point, you should be feeling hopefully a decrease in your symptoms. Like I said earlier, I was able to sleep much better, and I can get by with 6 or 7 hours of sleep, but I feel like I've had 8 or 9 hours of sleep, and more energy. The rashes on my skin cleared up, and combining that with intermittent fasting, it helped my digestive issues clear up. And so at this point you should be feeling better. I hope it worked. I was feeling better, and I know a lot of people in the groups, they also credit the keto diet with helping them recover faster. So I hope and pray that it works for you too, and by this point you should be having some relief and feeling better and able to have that energy to get up and do the dishes and whatever things are being neglected or missed in your life, you're able to start doing those things and getting back to living life. And there's a few other things you can do to be even healthier. You got to realize that not all fat is the same, and there are certain types of fat that should be avoided or severely limited, such as hydrogenated oils, like canola oil is what they do is they take vegetable oil or canola oil and they heavily process it, and they add a hydrogen to it, and it makes it into a solid instead of a liquid. And this is going to be in things such as margarine or fried foods, frozen foods. And when they do that, it creates trans fats, and these are the bad types of fat that you do not want to be consuming. They will raise the bad cholesterol and lower the good cholesterol. The other thing you probably want to limit is saturated fat. This will be on the nutritional label as well. But the more foods you can eat that are unsaturated fats, the better. I'll post a link down below that will be an article that'll kind of outline good fats versus bad fats, so you can have a better idea. But things like coconut oil, avocados, nuts, I mean, these are going to be the good fats that you want to be consuming. Another one would be eggs. Not only do they have the good fats in them, they also contain omega fatty acids, which has been shown to help people with brain problems such as TBIs recover faster. And I genuinely think that we have a form of brain injury. I have brain injury right now, but I'm recovering. I do think that benzo withdrawal does cause a sort of brain injury. It's very traumatic. So I think these omega fatty acids can help aid in that recovery. And I also take an omega fatty acid supplement. I take one that has omega 3, 6, and 9. It's made from fish oil and flax oil, and this will give you a little boost of fat, but it also give you those omegas that you need to help your brain recover and just run better overall. Another supplement that you want to start taking is vitamin B. I didn't know this before, but most Americans get their B vitamins through something called folic acid, which is added to grain products, which are carbohydrates. So we're not going to be consuming those. So we're not going to be getting those B vitamins that are fortified into things like rice and pasta and cereal and bread. So you want to get yourself a B vitamin complex or a B12 vitamin and start taking that regularly. There is ways to do it without supplementing, but you're going to have to eat, I believe it's liver. Liver has natural B vitamins, but for most people, for convenience and cost, just supplementing is the better option. Just while we're on supplements, I also take turmeric and vitamin C for their antioxidant properties. I take something called moringa. It's a superfood. It's a plant from, I believe it's from India, but it's very nutritious. It's got phytonutrients, and it's an antioxidant, and it's been shown to help lower blood sugar levels. And finally, I take CBD. It's good for a little fat boost. It's anti-inflammatory. It's good for anxiety and calming and depression, and it'll just enhance your mood. If you're having trouble sleeping, then taking a high dose of CBD is a good way to get some sleep. So that's about it when it comes to supplementing. I do want to say, you don't want to cheat a lot on this diet, because if you slip up and have a cookie or whatever carbs, there's carbs everywhere. You're going to find that when you go to the store and you're trying to look at stuff you can buy. You're going to see just how much carbs are in everything. And even going out to eat is going to be difficult. When you go out to eat, you can always get a salad, a salad without croutons. You gotta look up vegetables, and there's some vegetables that are much higher carbohydrate content than others, but you're gonna have to keep an eye on how many tomatoes are on it. You're going to want to get a dressing that has a lot of fat in it, like ranch or Caesar. So that's something that you can eat. And then you can go to places like IHOP and get certain omelets. You have to be careful because they do add flour to their omelets, so you have to ask them specifically for egg cracked omelets, but they'll usually accommodate you there. Chipotle is another one you can go to. They have their burrito in a bowl. Just don't get any rice or beans, and get stuff that's high in fat. But yeah, you don't want to cheat, because if you cheat, then you're going to be having to go through that period of not feeling so great when you get back into ketosis. So you really want to limit the amount of cheat days you have, and if you do cheat, don't go all out and do a whole bunch of pasta, because it's going to take even longer to burn off those carbs, and it's going to just be not super fun during that period of time. Another way we can make this even healthier is to buy organic foods, foods that don't have GMOs or the pesticides and other kind of nasty stuff that seems to be finding its way into our food supply. So if you can, buy organic, don't buy GMO. Try to still consume as many vegetables and fruits as you can. Like I said, doing berries is a good option for fruits. They've got a lot of fiber. And then if you do a salad, one thing that can give you extra antioxidants and just extra health benefits is choosing as many vegetables with different colors and textures as possible, and this is gonna just make you feel even better than the keto diet on its own will make you feel. I've also stopped buying just regular meat at the supermarket. I go in with a couple people and we get a cow slaughtered that was pasture raised and isn't crammed into a small area with all the feces and factory farm. I mean, they have to pump those cows full of antibiotics, and that will find its way into the food you consume, and that has a negative effect on your health. So if you can, don't support the factory farming. It might help your karma a little bit, but I mean, it's going to make you feel better and it tastes better. I started raising chickens, so I do my own eggs. The same thing with the chicken industry and their factory farming. So, do stuff as natural as possible. And then, I definitely recommend not eating pork and shrimp and these bottom feeding animals that are really just packed with parasites and just nasty, accumulating all the chemicals and stuff. So I would recommend eating as clean as possible. And I think I'm actually going to do a video before too long about eating clean. So I hope to be doing some videos like that in the next year. So if you guys come up with any questions or whatever, I'll try to respond to as many as I can. Just put them down in the comment section. And with all my videos, I hope some of you get the information you need to make you healthy once again. And I hope this video has been a lamp in someone's dark time. Have a blessed day. God bless.